future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
She's passionate about telling stories of amazing women who are rocking the world and empowering women to live, love, and thrive. Here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Hello, and welcome to Live, Love, Thrive, Women's Empowerment Hour, brought to you by 360karma.com. Today, we're going to talk about women in tech and also about spiritual empowerment. First up, we're going to have serial entrepreneur and tech guru Monica Taher. And then later in the show, we're going to have Janie Ellen Davis, who's a spiritual mentor and author of the book Unlock Your Heart, Goal Setting from the Inside Out. But first up, please welcome Monica Taher. Hi, welcome.
Catherine. Thank you so much for having me here.
I don't know how you have time to be here. You are a serial entrepreneur if I ever met one.
It's very busy.
Yeah.
It gets really busy.
More than myself. I never thought I could meet someone busier than me, but you're it. You are it. And we're going to talk about all your cool businesses today. But first I want to talk about your background because I think your background lends itself to being the person you are today. And so I was fascinated, actually, with your background. I didn't know that you were from El Salvador.
Sure. Yes, I am.
And because I know you spend a lot of time in Mexico, and we'll talk about that later because you do a lot of interesting business work there now.
Sure.
But El Salvador, tell me about that because I knew you grew up, you were telling me, in pretty tough times there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
my country went through a 12-year war, cruel war, similar to what we see in Israel now and many other places in the world where you go to bed and you don't know if you're going to actually wake up the next day.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
how bad it was.
Yeah.
Bombs, shootouts, you name it.
I just saw a movie the other night about a town that's on the Gaza Strip that they get bombed like every other day. And I was just like, oh, my God, I can't imagine living like that. So it must have been terrifying.
It was not only terrifying, but at the same time, sadly, you get used to living that way.
Right.
But it's not the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
And that was exactly what propelled me to actually think about leaving my country in order to find better opportunities. And that's how I landed in the U.S.
Right.
I knew that I wanted to go to college outside of my country, and I think that I made the right decision by doing so.
Now, do you think that's because your parents were academics?
Yes, my parents were in academia all of their lives. They were very accomplished in what they did. My mom is a biologist, retired biologist now, and my dad was a sociologist. And I grew up in a home where education was everything.
Yeah.
And in a way, it became for me the path to financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
However, I also knew that I didn't want to be a college professor. I always had this ambition.
Because that's what they did, right?
That's what they did for a living.
Right.
And we really, I don't really come from a family that embraced business. On the contrary, it was really anti-corporate. It was really anti-business, if you will. And I always wanted to, I love relating to people and I love getting to know new people because at the end of the day, business is about personal relationships. It's not really about transactions.
That's what makes it fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I still didn't go to school to pursue business. I went to UCLA when I moved from the States, and I have two degrees in cinema and media studies. Nothing to do with business.
Right.
But life took me there, and I'm glad that it did.
Yeah. And it was cinema because that was something that you were passionate about?
I'm passionate about film, especially
I love film.
Foreign film.
Yeah, there's so many great movies out right now.
Oh, definitely.
Oh my God. What's your favorite?
Right now, I think it's La La Land.
Absolutely, I love La La Land.
Yes.
I think only those of us in LA love it.
LA is a great town to be in.
It is.
Definitely.
It was fabulous, that opening on the 405, because we
Sure.
always know how much
Reality,
traffic it is.
right?
And you can only fantasize and imagine what it would be like to have everybody get out of their cars and sing and dance. And I love someone had that, I'm sure, daydream one day and then made it a reality in this movie. Exactly. It was so fun.
Sure.
And that movie, too, was it was fun, but it was so poignant at the end.
Definitely.
So we won't give away the ending in case you haven't seen it. But
it was a real ending, in my opinion.
And then Lion. Did you see Lion?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my gosh,
yes.
masterpiece.
I need to catch up in order to get up to speed for the Oscars.
The Oscars
Definitely.
are coming up, so we had to at least have our little movie critique here.
Sure, definitely.
But and even Lion was set over in another country with poverty and whatnot, and so when we come here to the United States, people do take things for granted, and so
absolutely.
Coming from where you came from, that sounded like really challenging, and I can see why you wanted to leave there, but I know you go back and. Is your family still there?
My family, my mother, my dad passed away. My mother comes and goes, and most of my family, which is really my sister and her family, they're here. So when I go back home, I enjoy it, but I don't necessarily go as often as I go to Mexico for business. I go to Mexico at least, I want to say once a month.
Right. Pretty soon you're going to have to hop over a wall.
Exactly. Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not. I know that you are a serial entrepreneur. We're going to talk about all the fascinating businesses that you have. I know you're very tech savvy, so I want to talk about that because we need more women in tech. I'm sure you agree. But first of all, trials and tribulations to get to where you are today. So I know you went through a terrible breakup after you had your daughter.
Correct.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I like sharing my personal story because that was exactly what catapulted me into business. I look my life a few years back, and I really don't think that I would be where I'm at right now if I hadn't gone through that experience.
Right. As much as we hate going through things that feel like they are awful.
Exactly.
Sometimes that is the catalyst to pushing us into greatness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had to hit rock bottom in order to experience financial awakening, which is what I'm going through right now.
Right.
And things happen for a reason. And I went through, like you mentioned, a really horrible breakup that left me penniless, and that made me reevaluate where I was in regards to my debt, to my assets, to the money that I had invested, and most importantly, how I was going to put my daughter through college. I have an 18-year-old who actually I just dropped off in Boston last week, and she's going to be attending Emerson College, so I'm very, very proud of her. But a few years ago, to be exact, in 2011, my life was a disaster, and I had no savings, and I didn't even have a plan on how to get my life back, financially speaking.
Right.
I was afraid that I was going to lose my home, and I, like I said, I didn't have a plan, so I had to act quickly. For me, it was survival. It was do or die, and that's exactly what I did. I dove into research, and I realized that there was a huge opportunity in the tech space, in technology, and one thing led to another, where I was offered partnership in the company that I co-own right now, because I presented a proposal in order to build a pillar that focused on entertainment, on Latino entertainment.
And this is your partners in Getty Latin America.
This is Getty Images Latin America, exactly.
That's fantastic.
Which is basically the franchise for the Hispanic and the Latin American markets.
Beautiful.
So we have offices here in LA, Mexico, from Mexico all the way down to Argentina, and we provide digital content, which means news, sports, entertainment related content in the form of videos, footage, of photos, music, anything, as well as stock photography. So that's my main business.
Wow.
The other business that I'm actually we launched last year with along with my partner, my life partner now, is fascinating. And I say that is fascinating simply because it relates to cannabis.
Right.
And while there's a lot of stigma in that industry still, as we know, the cannabis business will hit $20.6 billion in 2020.
Right.
It's still a semi-virgin industry.
And what I think is even more important than it being a billion-dollar industry is that they're just finding more and more how it helps people health-wise.
Absolutely.
With pain and I'm sure other things that I don't even know about. But,
Definitely.
I know we've had talks on the show about cannabinoids and things like that help people. And so it was so taboo, but it's becoming less taboo, I think, because of the health factors of
Correct.
it. And of course, the laws that just passed, That's here in California?
It was here in California,
Right.
and it will take effect in January of 2018.
Oh, 2018.
And what that means is that right now you need a medical card in order to go into a dispensary and
Right.
buy and purchase cannabis or any of its ancillary products, such as
Right.
edibles or anything else.
Right. I
But
have a friend actually that has a company called Monk, and they are drinkables.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
you find it now in beer, in wine, infused teas, anything. But what my partner and I are doing is that we're connecting. Keep in mind that banks are not lending money to entrepreneurs who want to launch cannabis businesses.
Now, after the law passes, do you think they will? I mean, it passed, but once it comes to fruition in 2018, do you think they'll loan? No, you don't. They still think they won't.
No, they won't because it's a
interesting.
federal. Because we don't have that permission at the federal
federal.
level.
Oh,
Exactly.
so this
And
is just
banks
at
are
a state level.
That is correct. And banks are regulated
Got
at the
it.
federal level. So entrepreneurs are having a hard time finding money. So what my partner and I are doing is that we're connecting lenders or private equity money with entrepreneurs who have these incredible business plans about how to launch a cultivation or, in this case, an edibles, type of business.
Right.
And we're serving as consultants. So we're financing, basically.
Right.
That's my other business.
Yeah, that's
And-
fascinating.
And I want to touch on what you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
There is a compassionate side to cannabis. And I when I talk to people, because I was one of them many, many years ago, I would say, marijuana, that's
Yeah.
a
No,
drug.
thank you. Yeah.
Exactly. No, thank you. I don't smoke it, but I do think that there is an incredible business opportunity in that industry.
Right.
And I also think
That will help people.
That will help people,
Right.
exactly. And if there are people suffering from cancer, epilepsy, and many other illnesses,
Right.
why not help them?
Right, because it is a natural substance. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, makes sense.
Definitely. So it's pretty exciting. So those are the two of the businesses I'm focusing on right now.
Well, I was going to say two of them because there's several. I would like to tell people what Business Taps is because I know that's kind of your tech part of your businesses. So
Sure.
tell me a little bit about that.
Well, Business Taps has
It's an app?
It's really not an app.
Oh, okay.
It's a signature product that makes advertising less intrusive. Right now, we as consumers, we're watching YouTube or we're watching any video online on
Yeah.
Facebook. We're too smart for that. We don't want to watch commercials anymore, even on
Right.
TV. That's why cable exists or
Right.
Netflix exists.
Right.
Because we're tired of being bombarded with advertising.
Right.
So what this does for brands, and this is called IC, what IC does for brands is that encompasses the brand's message or the brand's logo into the videos that you're already watching on YouTube. And it's non-intrusive, it's non-invasive, and people are watching the video, but at the same time, they can watch the brand. Let's say, imagine X brand logo, and it's moving on the corner of the video that you're watching. If you want to keep watching it, you watch it. If not, you just,
So
click on it.
everybody's watching these funny cat videos.
Sure, exactly.
You're enjoying it, laughing, having a good time, but at the same time, Purina
Exactly.
has
Correct.
its little
logo.
logo, and you can click on it, or if it's just branding it.
It brands it, and you as a consumer have the right to, not the right, but the
Ability.
the choice, the ability to click on it. And when you click on it, it can take you to Purina's website or to a menu where you can choose from. But that's really up to you. And it's not invasive. It's not like if they're putting another video in front of the video that you really want to watch.
Right. So that's what people don't like. They don't want to watch the commercial, so they
Correct.
can watch the video that they really want to watch. So this allows them to just jump right into the video they really want to watch, but also see who's branding it.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's great for brands because brands are in desperate need of getting their message out there. Why? Because consumers are way too smart right now to be bombarded with stuff that we don't really want to watch.
So it's got to integrate
Exactly.
into what we're already watching or what we're really interested in.
Into the existing content. That is
Interesting.
correct.
Okay.
So it's not really an app, but it is an advertising tool that uses artificial intelligence.
Ah,
That's
okay.
That's what IC is.
Okay, I know. We need more intelligence,
Artificial
or
right?
otherwise.
Exactly.
But so what I was going to say is, besides getting images, besides business taps, you do personal branding.
Yes.
And I know you have a blog. And you do a workshop for the U.S. embassies in Mexico. So tell us about that, because that is about women's empowerment, right? Like
Absolutely.
How they use finances and develop themselves to empower themselves financially. Is that basically what you talk about?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So for those who would love to check my blog, it's monicataher.com. And what I do is that I write pieces or I shoot videos where I try to educate and empower women about the need to be in control of our money. I think that in order to launch a business, we need to really know what's happening with our personal finances. And the reason why I tie those two topics is because of what I went through with my personal story. I was not in control of my money a few years ago.
Right.
And I didn't know how much money I had and how much debt I had and how I was going to put my daughter through college.
Right.
So I had to straighten my life, and I had to create an infrastructure that allowed me to understand that if I use only 30% of my credit, then I was going to be okay.
Right.
And that's how I raised my credit scores, just to give you an example,
Right.
from the 600s all the way to 800s,
Right.
which is
like
my
I
FICO
know
score.
one of your blogs was about how do you improve your credit score.
Exactly.
Right.
So I tried giving women these tools
Right.
so they can have control of their money, but at the same time, I give them tips on how to launch a business, because I really think that me included,
Right.
many women might think that they need to have a degree in business. They need to have some sort of strong education or financial background in order
Right.
to have a business.
Right.
And I absolutely disagree. We're not going to be able to cover all areas where we don't necessarily need to be finance people. However, we can hire someone who can do the books for us.
Right.
While what it takes is an idea.
Right.
An idea for us to focus and make it work, launch our business, and whether that means selling items from your home on eBay or actually launching a company, it is doable. And I always tell women that in order to reach financial freedom,
Right.
they need to become entrepreneurs. That is the key.
Right, right. That's great advice. And, but I think people think, I want to be an entrepreneur, but they don't know how. And I noticed on your blogs, I just want to divert to your blogs for a second, because there was one on how to improve your credit score. And then there was one with stock tips on cannabis stocks.
Yes.
And I thought, so what you do is you just indulge in the marijuana until you improve your credit score so you can buy the marijuana stocks.
Exactly. And not only that,
Got it all figured out.
No, absolutely. Because as a serial entrepreneur, you have to find ways on how
but
to
all kidding
monetize
aside,
from
yes.
different opportunities. I'll give you another quick example.
Yeah.
Way before Hillary Clinton announced that she was going to launch her presidential campaign.
Yes.
We kind of knew that she was going to do it. So I went on GoDaddy.
I heard about that you
Yes,
did this.
Exactly.
This is brilliant. Yeah.
And I bought 7 domains that related to Hillary Clinton and to the Latino community, because I knew that she was going to be focusing on.
Oh my
in
gosh!
that
So which
community.
ones did you buy?
So I bought Women for Hillary, and I bought that.
You bought Women for Hillary?
That same domain, but in
Wow.
Spanish.
Wow.
And 7 different domains, and that cost me $70, right? $10 per domain. I sold one. I sold only one out of those 7, but I sold it for $7,000.
That is unbelievable.
I recouped not only my investment, but
1,000%.
obviously I made a lot of profit just from doing that. And I did the same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a virtual currency.
Sure, I'm familiar with it.
Fantastic. And I think that all of us women need to be absolutely familiar with it, because it's the future.
Yes.
A few years from now, we're not going to do transactions with paper bills.
Right.
Everything is going to be virtual, and it's going to be easier actually to go from country to country without worrying about money exchange, which is also going
I know I went to breakfast this morning and I forgot my wallet, so I couldn't have breakfast. I had to walk home.
There you
And
go.
I thought, I know I should be able to use my phone to swipe my. I have to get with the times here.
Exactly.
Because I
There
had
you
my
go.
phone with me.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's probably all we are going to need
Right.
a few years from now. So I bought Bitcoin when it was really, really low, and
Yeah.
I let it, go up until I saw that it started declining again, and I sold half of it. I made good profit because what I think we women need to do is seek opportunities that will help us increase our income.
Right.
Other side businesses, or even if they're small and even if they're temporary.
Right.
It's all about making profit.
So there's so many people that would be watching that might be in the same shoes you were in, where they're, in fact, my Uber driver was a single mom. She told me she's a single mom entrepreneur struggling. And so there's a lot of women out there in those shoes. So I love what you're doing. People should check out your blogs at monicataher.com and learn from your experience how you go from that being a struggling single mom to being a successful entrepreneur. And I know you do it over and over again. And how can people, reading your blogs and then your workshops, how can they learn from you?
Yes, no, thank you for that question. So to go back to the U.S. Embassy, one of the things that I'm doing through my personal branding is that I'm working in conjunction with the U.S. Embassy in Mexico by presenting actually workshops and talks and empowering women, again, about personal finance and about technology. And in the area of technology, specifically about how to launch a startup. If people go on my website, on my blog, they can find all those topics there. Mm-hmm. I also do videos, really quick videos on how to increase your credit, how to launch a side business. Even if you have a 9-to-5 job that is demanding, you can still set aside 2 hours per day, 3 hours on the weekend if you're really passionate about making more money. Because one thing that I want to stress is this: regardless of our religion, our culture, maybe not that much here in the States, but I know that for communities of color, especially for Latinos, there is a sense of shame when it comes to talking about money, when it comes to talking about creating wealth. And it should not be that way. We need to be free to think that it is okay for us women to be in control of our money, regardless if we're straight, gay, and regardless if we're married. We need to be in control of our money, and we need to, if our ambition is to make more money, we need to feel okay with that.
Well, and I think it's I believe it's about tapping into your life's purpose, doing what you're meant to do to serve people. Perfect example, you're here to serve people by helping women empower themselves financially and with technology. And so in doing what you're meant to be doing, it attracts the income that makes you feel secure. And so where the focus is on money, I always say the focus is in listening to your insides as to what you're meant to be doing. And once you're doing that, the money will follow.
Absolutely.
And I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with setting that intention that by serving other people, it will reap those benefits to be able to send your kid to college or support yourself or make you independent. Nothing wrong with those goals at all.
Definitely not. Yeah. And I think, Catherine, you touched on a very important point. If you have the knowledge, if you have inside information, it's about sharing it.
It's about sharing it
with everybody else.
And there's a big joy in that.
Oh, absolutely.
When you're helping other people, what gets better than that?
Definitely. Especially as women, we need to help each other.
Absolutely. I'm with that. That's what this is all about.
Right.
So thank you for being on the show and sharing all this. People can find you at monicataher.com.
Sure.
And will you be doing any local workshops? Do you know? Maybe in the future?
Yes, definitely. That is definitely in what I call Q2 in in the spring.
So they
That's
can
the
look
goal.
forward to workshops. They can reach you to look at your blogs to help improve their financial situation.
Absolutely.
And also, if there's a entrepreneur out there in the cannabis industry that needs funding, you're the go-to girl.
Please,
Yeah.
because we have right now we're actually very busy. There are so many projects and so many entrepreneurs, like I said, with solid business plans,
Wow.
looking for money. And the reality is that there are also lenders who are looking at this industry. I mean, this is not necessarily a new thing. Lenders are paying attention to that industry. There is a lot of money, and California will monetize. I mean, the estimate is that California will monetize at least $125 million just in taxes after 2018.
Wow.
Just in taxes
You
alone.
gotta love California.
We all love California.
La La Land.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
you.
And I would love to have you back again sometime.
Appreciate it.
And just keep doing your awesome work, empowering women.
Thank
Love
you.
it. Love
Thank
it.
you so much.
And we will be right back with Janie Ellen Davis.
The Live, Love, Thrive radio show is produced by 360karma.com. Are you a 360 Karma woman? If so, spread the word. Be sure to follow us on social media at 360 Karma Women on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please like us and share us with family and friends. This is the year of the woman, and we are stronger together. The Live, Love, Thrive program is brought to you in part by Honda of downtown Los Angeles, supporting the equality and empowerment of women.
We are back with Janie Ellen Davis. Hi, Janie. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Awesome.
This is a fabulous, fabulous thing.
Thank
fact,
you.
I'm
And
sitting
you're
in
in
here-
from Santa Fe.
Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Wow.
Yes, I came in a few days ago, and I'm over my culture shock on the freeway.
It is culture shock,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it really is.
I drove through Santa Fe, oh my gosh, in my 20s, 10 years ago. Haha. So I'm sure it's changed a lot since then, but I know it's a fabulous place. And it was your dream to move there, right?
It absolutely was.
Yeah.
Yes. I heard you talking with Monica about a life purpose. Part of my life purpose was
Yeah.
definitely to be in the Southwest in Santa Fe, and
And
it
you
took
started
me,
life here,
let's see.
right?
Oh yes,
Yep.
Anaheim, California.
Yeah.
long time ago. So I was going to say it took me.
So you grew up
almost,
near Disney.
I did. In
Yeah.
fact, I was a
The
child
happiest
when
place in town
when
or something like
Disneyland
that.
came
What's it-
along. It
Yeah.
totally changed Anaheim. It really did.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it really
I
did.
bet.
Little farming town, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden we were on the map.
Oh my gosh, that would do it.
Yep, for sure.
So you lived here and in San Diego, right?
San Diego, most of my adult life. Yeah,
Right. And then you went similar to Monica. I just drew a blank there. Through a family thing, right?
Well, yes, I was very young and went through a divorce. I had two little boys, 5 and 8, and at the time, it was a long time ago, obviously. So
Yeah, you said you were like
when
30,
she
in your
was saying
30s,
that
right?
about women understanding their finances, you couldn't get. Well, there weren't credit cards then.
That's
But
so
I
hard
couldn't
to
even
believe.
I couldn't even get a checking account.
Yeah,
because I was divorced.
right.
So
Wait a minute. Wait. So young women listening, back then
Yeah.
in your 30s, a bank would not allow a single woman to open a checking account.
Nope. I was working for a pediatrician.
So this is in your lifetime, obviously.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean,
Yes,
hello.
ma'am. You know, I'm not a young woman, but it's amazing what we've gone through.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! As much as we do talk about equality, and obviously we're not on general paid the same as men, and we have a long way to go, and that's why there's a women's march this Saturday,
Yes.
the 21st, which I'm going to in LA, and I know it's around 130. Cities
It's
around the
everywhere.
country and
It's
around the
fabulous.
world
It's everywhere.
about not just women's empowerment, but it's also about human rights. But women's rights are human rights. So,
bet.
I'm glad that the march is going to shed some light on those inequities.
Yes.
But yes, we have come a long way when you look at things like you couldn't. I can't imagine going
know.
to a bank and I can't even open an account
Nope.
because I'm a single woman. It just seems crazy.
Yeah, it was
But
crazy.
at the same time, we have a ways to go. Still got some work. That's how it goes. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, right? And so that is just unfathomable to me that you went through that.
Well,
so how did you deal with that? You're single, you're divorced, you can't open a checking account. How did
I was very
survive
fortunate
that?
to have a lot of family help, and as I said, I was working for a pediatrician. He went into his bank and stood up for me so I could get my checking account.
Oh,
He didn't
wait a minute.
sign-
So
yeah.
if somebody,
Oh yeah.
if a man signed for you,
It was
you could
my
open
employer.
it.
Yes.
Wow.
I was furious underneath, but
Yeah.
you got to do what you got to do. So
Right.
it's just what it taught me was how little I really knew myself on the inner.
Yes.
I mean, I was 36 years old. I had
Right.
two little boys, and I really had to pull myself up by my bootstraps in the sense of, okay, who am I?
Right.
And so at that time, there were a lot of self-help gurus out there, and there were books, and I just dug into everything.
Just ate them up.
I
huh?
did, and I spent a lot of time, actually years, in that arena, just studying, and then developed my own business out of that. Once
Wow.
I called it life balance education, and now they're coaches.
Right.
But
right.
way back then, it was life balance education, and so I help
Right.
mostly women just learn who are you on the inner, what do you believe in, who are
Right.
you being. It's about your being. It's not about your doing.
I think it always comes down to being authentic.
Absolutely.
Like, who are you really, and what are you really meant to be doing here, and how do you tap into that? And that's what I love about your book and your program, Unlock Your Heart, Goal Setting from the inside out. That's the main thing,
It
inside
totally
out.
is, yeah.
And, starting off 2017, it's a wonderful time to explore that. So this is a timely interview for that.
It
kicking
is.
off the new
I
year.
what I'm hoping to see with all of the marches and all is that women get tribes. We need a tribe.
Right.
We need to co-communicate. We need
Now,
to come
some people
together.
wonder what people mean by a tribe.
Well,
now,
for me,
yeah.
it's a gathering of women who are like-minded.
Yes.
Not necessarily that they have the same talents.
Right.
It's talents coming.
and not meaning divided by ethnicity
No.
or religion
No.
or sexuality. I always like to emphasize that I feel like like-mindedness, we should be coming together as one. Women are stronger together, obviously.
Oh, yes.
And not segregating ourselves by those things.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all, especially not now.
Right.
It's vital.
Yeah.
It really is vital.
It
Yeah.
is.
And it's about the heart. I keep talking about heart consciousness because when you're in your heart, you're not up in your head.
Right.
You can, when you start out in your heart, then there is a brain convergence that happens with this. Heart math is such a fantastic thing. But you start in your heart, and then you have a knowingness and a trust and a love.
So is that the difference between someone being in their head saying, oh my God, I got to pay the rent. Oh my God, I got to make money. And their heart saying, okay, what is it I really want to be doing? In the middle of a
Absolutely.
divorce or chaos, it's hard to think with your heart instead of your head, but you're saying if you can accomplish that, that's what gives the peace of mind to move forward in finding out what you're meant to be doing. And when you're doing what you're meant to be doing, serving people in whatever way you are, whatever gifts you have,
Live, love,
the
thrive.
rest, live, love, and thrive. The rest falls into place.
It
The money
does.
falls into place. Everything falls into place.
And it's very true. It really is true. And it's so
hard for
hard when
people
you're
to,
when you're knee
grasp
deep
that.
in what I call the green slime.
Yeah.
It's very hard for you to say, okay, well, I'm just going to trust that I'll know what to do, or I'll take the right step. It's really more than that. You really need to know what you value.
Right.
There's the first session in the book is all about core values. And so there's exercises to go in and say, okay, who am I on the inner? And there's a whole list of core values. So my 3 core values that I cannot live without are creative self-expression, freedom, and love.
Right. Now,
So
don't
if
you
I
think
don't,
that's
if I don't
everybody?
create, well, no,
No?
you'd be surprised. Some people
Really?
it's compassion, because what you do is you really go in there and say, okay, who am I?
Oh, I see. So everybody's is kind of a little different. Yeah.
Yes. But,
Love's got to be on everybody's, though.
well, I sure hope so.
I would think so.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, boy, that's what makes life worthwhile and meaningful and awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the others I could see might vary from person to person.
Well, yeah,
but-
there's a whole list. There's things like play.
Yeah. Oh, that's me.
Spirituality.
Oh, that's me.
Adventure.
I'm all of them.
Beauty. Well, and the funny part is when you start out, You pick 10.
Oh, okay.
And then I make you narrow it down to 3.
I gotcha.
So that you pick the ones that are just core.
Your book is kind of like a workbook, so it's
is.
actually interactive, right?
Yes.
So people get to write down, and it
Oh
helps
yeah,
them.
it's a workbook.
It's
actually
great.
8 sessions, and
It's at unlockyourheart.com, right?
it is, yes. Unlockyourheart.com, and you can order it there through Amazon. And can I tell my story about the book club? The
Yes,
lady?
absolutely.
Oh, well, there are some book clubs happening throughout the U.S. A few
So
now.
everybody gets your book, and then
Yes,
they do
and
it at their book
get together
club.
and do it at their book club.
That's cool.
So there is one particular book club where one of the ladies is 92. And she gets her hair done every week. And so their first meeting was her hairdo day, her appointment day. So they didn't figure she'd show up. And there she was at the meeting. And they said, well, Ruthie, you're missing your hair appointment. She says, well, what's more important, getting my hair done or unlocking my heart? And she's 92.
I love that.
Oh, I mean, I was so thrilled.
I love
Because,
that.
it's about reimagining yourself
Yeah.
every day. It's
Yeah.
not, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Right,
It's
absolutely.
heart. It's
Yeah.
heart. So I just love that story.
Yeah, I've had quite a few women on my show and at my conference that are in their 80s, and they're rocking it.
Oh, yeah.
And
No,
I
it's
just
amazing.
love them, and
Isn't it
I want to be
wonderful?
them.
I know. They're mentors for us.
Yeah, it means
Yeah.
we have a long way. It means we're just kids now.
Well, I mean, I'm in my 7th decade, so I have another decade to get in the 8th decade. But, it
Yeah.
just keeps getting better.
It does.
really, really does.
And I know we both said, we wouldn't want to. I mean, I wouldn't want to have. I can't imagine that retirement concept of having nothing to do.
No,
Like
no,
that
no.
is like not my goal.
No. Well, not living in L.A., that's for sure.
Yeah, right. But and I know you love to travel, right?
I do. I've traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
I think my most passionate travel was several years ago. I went with the Foundation for Women. That's an organization that does microcredit loans for women who live on less than $1 a day.
Oh, right.
We went to
right.
India twice
Wow,
and
wow.
got to be with the women in Tamil Nadu. So for me, that was really life-changing
Oh, I
because
bet.
I realized we're all women. We're
Yeah.
all the same. It's just
Right.
opportunity. It's where we live. These women were so dear. And they live on less than $1 a day.
Wow.
So that kind of thing, if
Because
it's travel
they-
with a purpose,
And they
I
were
love
probably
it.
joyful.
Oh,
Yeah. Unbelievable.
they were
Yeah.
so sweet. They wanted
Yeah.
to know about our
They're
children.
living in the present. They have love.
Yes.
I mean, these are the things that make
Simple.
people happy. The
Very
simple things,
simple,
right?
Yeah, but it was life-changing.
I bet.
Very humbling, extremely humbling.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah. And that is a very good point. As we go into this march about women's empowerment, fighting for the rights for equality and to be paid the same, it does influence women all over the world.
It does.
And so what happens here, we're affecting our sisters around the world. And
well, we're all one, We really
are all
are.
one.
We're interconnected, and it's very important that we all stand for each other, and our voices can be heard. Theirs can't.
right.
So we are their voices.
Yes.
And I think we really have to be careful what we share,
Right.
and that we share from the heart.
Absolutely.
When in this particular time, we could go into anger, we could go into fear in a
We
heartbeat.
absolutely could.
And we must not do that. We just must not. We just have to be loving.
So, your group, when you were mentioning earlier, like having a tribe, okay? Now, my friend Jeffrey Van Dyke talks about this, about finding the people who need you, which is your tribe. And it tends to be people who have had similar experiences. So I'm not surprised that you've said single moms, divorcees, empty nesters tend to gravitate toward your book and your group.
They do.
Because that's your people, so to speak, your
Absolutely.
tribe. And, oftentimes I think people are wondering, well, who are the like-minded people I should be helping?
Yes.
And it really is starting with, well, what is your story and who would relate to your story, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And realizing that it's just a story.
Yeah.
Once
everybody's got one.
Everyone has one, and
Or
yet
more than one.
Yeah, and yet if they can get to the point where they're owning their story, they're choosing it, and
Yeah.
it's not a victim consciousness. That's where
Right.
the shift happens, where
Yes.
where they begin to love their story because it helped them to be who they are now.
Right.
But be in the now. That's
So,
very important.
can you share any success stories of people who've utilized your workbook that you can think of?
Oh my gosh, there's quite a few actually. There was one woman who came to just a little lecture that I did, and I love this story because she really didn't when I heard her feedback, it was after the lecture. And all I did was lead them through the core value process. So she got what her 3 were. And I said, all right, you go home and you write them down where you can see them. And every morning when you get up, you repeat who I am as my core values is and say your 3 core values. So she called me about 2 months later and she said, I started doing that every morning. She said, I manifested a new job, I manifested a new boyfriend, and I manifested a new house.
Oh my gosh.
And it's only because she
I want to know what her 3 core values were.
She shifted her thinking. So she got out of her head.
Yes.
She got into her heart, and she began being those values every day.
Right.
And she created that
Now,
out
do
of
you
being.
remember what those values were? That'd be interesting to know.
I
well,
can't
one must
really
have been love.
say. Yes,
She got a new
I
boyfriend.
can't really say.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But they were her values,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah,
So
that's
those kinds of
fascinating.
things.
And there is some powerful magic in writing it down. I know a lot of
Absolutely.
people say, "Oh yeah, I know what I want. It's up here in
no,
my
no, no,
head."
no.
But there is something magical. I know I've been writing down my goals since my 30s or maybe my late 20s, and it always fascinates me every year when you write them
back and
down,
read
how they
them later.
actually, like last year I said I'm going to create the Live Love Thrive conference, the talk show,
Yeah.
the DVDs, the web series, and the book. And
But you know what? I think
and
you knew,
had I
but
not
you
written
knew
them down.
why. You
Yeah.
knew why, first of all.
Yeah, I knew why.
You knew
Yeah.
it was your purpose.
Yes.
And so the writing it down, yes, it does. It solidifies it.
Yeah.
And it also puts the commitment to it.
Yes.
It's a big commitment when, and if
But
you
it
read
doesn't.
them
But,
to someone
but
else,
not
that's
everybody.
even better.
But not everybody follows through. I think the other
no.
component we didn't talk about is you must take the action.
Of course.
So we could write down everything. 10 things we want to do this year. But if we don't take that action toward it, and then the other part that I love about what you teach is when you say unlock your heart and tap into your heart, is that about listening to things that come up in your universe. Like, attend that workshop. Call that
Yes.
person.
Pay attention.
Someone told me about this person. I should reach out to them. And it is about the universe sending those little messages, and if we act on them or not, it makes all the difference. Every day feels like magic, It's like one person will say, I know this person you need to meet. And I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's
Yes.
exactly what
Well,
I
that's
was
what
thinking.
happened. That's how I got here.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
exactly. It was manifested that way. No, you're absolutely right. You said it so beautifully. It is true.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
don't know if I said it beautifully, but I said
Well,
it.
you did. But what you didn't really qualify is that
Yeah.
you're coming from your heart
Yeah.
before you write down your goal.
Yes.
And
I
that's
like
that's
that.
vital
Yeah.
because if you're in your head writing down your goal, it's like that's a New Year's resolution.
Right, like that's
I'm
what
going to
people
lose
stop-
10 pounds this month.
Yeah,
this
and
year.
it stops people from doing it.
I'm not going to lose 10 pounds this year unless
Right.
I go into my heart and really say, I'll be healthier.
Yes.
I'll be happier. And
Yeah.
I look at the reasons that feed my soul.
Yes.
I'll probably lose the 10 pounds.
Right.
It's
You're right.
it's a pure intention. There's nothing on it. It's just
Right,
pure.
and you have to take the action.
Yes, you do.
Speaking of that, because I just lost 8 pounds, so I'm thinking
Well,
you're right. You're
rock and
right.
roll, rock
You
and
know,
roll.
the goal was, and I've written it down so many times, but it is this time taking a different action and.
bet.
The exercise, the following a specific, protocol, and that does work.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. But it is that action part that a lot of people leave out. But I'm a big believer in vision boards, and I think,
Yes.
your course
so
is
fun, too.
Yeah, and I think your course is great at, like we said, you're delving into what's in your heart, then creating that vision board for the year so you know what your intention is. And what I love about the vision board is I think it's important to see it every day.
Well, it is. That's
know,
like
having-
writing it down and declaring who you are as your three core
Right.
values. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
not only writing it down, but putting it somewhere that you see it
See
every
it.
day, so you remind yourself. As silly as it sounds, like people might. I mean, I think sometimes people go, "That's ridiculous,"
No, it really
so you
isn't.
look at it every day. That doesn't make it happen. No, it really does. It really does. To look at it every day and say, "This is my intention: is to make this happen. This is my intention," and then listen to what comes into your play, so that you can make that call or meet that person to make that happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
but
I mean,
then you have to release attachment to the outcome.
oh yeah,
That's big.
That is important.
That is
I'm
big
glad
because
you
you
mentioned
can't
that.
get out there and you can't manifest it if you have attachments to it.
Absolutely.
You have to release it and trust it.
Yeah, and I think people need a little explanation about what that means. Like, what could be a simple explanation? Like, I want a house that has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a pool, and a water view. But don't be attached to like where it is or
I don't
is.
know. I think it's more intangible than that.
Right.
I think that the house that you want to manifest will show up. There may be differences in what you thought you wanted,
Right.
Because it's not appropriate for you to
Right.
feed your soul that way.
Yes.
So there's this little sort of thing that goes on that we really don't have control of.
Yes.
The divine does, we don't.
Right.
And I think that's what you're talking about. Is
Yeah.
that
We don't always know what or meeting a person.
Yeah.
That's a perfect one.
Yes.
I want to be in love. I want to meet this person. I want them to have this, and the other thing. And yet the universe knows that someone else
exactly.
maybe different than that is right for us. So you find your love, but it might not have come in the package that you thought.
That's almost always true.
Yeah. That could be. But I don't know. I just I think that what you're doing is great, and that people do need to unlock their heart and do some goal setting from the inside out.
Yes, thank
Absolutely.
you. Yeah, they really do.
Yeah. And
Makes
so
a big difference in their lives.
and you do one-on-one with people?
I love to do one-on-one.
Oh, okay.
with
I
people.
thought so.
I really do.
'Cause a lot of
and
people
now,
want to be held by the
now
hand.
that we're so advanced, I can Skype and FaceTime and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So it's so fun because I don't have to be right with them in the same room.
Right.
But I love that more because I love just what you and I are doing is fun.
Yeah, I love in
And
person.
the hands-on,
Yeah.
But I think what's key is that there's something about deep listening.
Yeah.
And people don't get heard, particularly women.
Yes.
And so one of the first things that I think that I do that might be unique is that I really hear what they're saying to me.
Yes.
I get it, in other words. I may not agree with it,
Right.
but I get it.
So for
And
that
I
hour,
think
somebody's
that's
actually
important.
listening to them, and they have an hour or so, whatever the time
Usually-
is.
yeah, usually an hour.
That they get to really focus on themselves and what they want to be doing, and bounce ideas off someone. And because the world can be tough and
it is
busy
tough.
and frenetic, and you don't have time to stop and think, or
And feel.
just be in the
and feel.
present with somebody
Yeah.
that you can bounce ideas off with.
Very true.
Yeah. So that's great. And it must be very fulfilling to do
It is
this.
extremely fulfilling.
Yeah.
And teaching people to pay attention, on the inner.
Yes.
To really listen and pay attention. They have to get quiet first. There's this piece about going into the silence.
Yeah. I meditate every morning, and I
Yes.
couldn't agree with you
No,
more. That's
you
when
have
the
to
magic
ground
happens.
yourself, but you have to get quiet, even if you only have a few minutes in the morning. I suggest morning is best.
Yes.
But it really is vital to your soul.
And they say it sets the tone for your whole day. When you meditate, you put yourself in a peaceful place.
totally
Not only
does.
is it the time that your ideas and thoughts and direction in life kind of download, but it's just that peaceful space to center yourself for the whole day. It impacts your whole day.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah.
And even beyond that.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Oh, I'm delighted. Thank you so much.
And love delving into your book, and I hope others do too. And keep doing your amazing work and helping women.
It fills my heart, so I'm on it.
Thank you. Well, thank
so
you.
much.
And I hope to see you in Santa Fe.
Oh, yeah, come and visit anytime.
Would love
Thanks.
to. All right. Thanks so much. And we will be back next week, same time, same channel. And we will see you at the march on the 21st down in Pershing Square or somewhere in the country, whatever city you're going to. And health and happiness. Make it a great week.
The Live, Love, Thrive program is brought to you in part by Honda of downtown Los Angeles, supporting the equality and empowerment of women. The Live, Love, Thrive radio show is produced by 360karma.com. Are you a 360 Karma woman? If so, spread the word. Be sure to follow us on social media at 360 Karma Women on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please like us and share us with family and friends. This is the year of the woman, and we are stronger together.